As entrepreneurs, we all have a reason why we decided to leave our 9 to 5 for an 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. I'm here to capture those stories of why we all hustle and grind for our companies. Michelle Michevic is also known as the Sales Diva. She's a serial entrepreneur, public speaker, philanthropist, and founder of Out of the Box Consulting. Using her personality science sales trainer, she has closed millions of dollars in deals from Fortune 500 companies' dead lead piles by using better communication. She is an expert on subconscious mind reprogramming, relationships, and in creating self-belief. She is behind the scenes at many businesses creating better sales processes that yield higher closing ratios using an out-of-the-box thought approach to working smarter, not harder. She has helped realtors and investors close 300-plus transactions in real estate as their high-ticket closer, and she is also executive producer of the Dining Divas Empire, featured on national TV on the Travel Channel. She is a regular diva on Destination Divas, a women empowerment, foodie, and travel show featuring many businesses globally. This heart-centered diva says it is our social responsibility to give back and sits on the board at Little Miracles, a charity giving back to single mothers who need a little extra help, and Nomad Alliance, ending homelessness through teaching accountability and the skill set to break free. She has partnered with Jetpack, a hands-on marketing platform, Natty Addy, an all-natural Adderall supplement, and Bella Marquet, an all-natural lash serum and lip plumping oil. She is also the mother of two and the lover of humanity. Hey, so how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Andrew. How are you?
I am absolutely amazing. Welcome to the podcast. Love having you on here, and I'm honored to have you as a guest.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here.
Awesome. So
anything called hustle and grind, I'm in.
I love it. Spoken like a true entrepreneur. I absolutely love it. I love it. So I guess, we've been friends for a while. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Let's start off there. Let's start off with your origin story.
Oh, wow. So I was raised in Orange County, California by a single Latina mother from Guatemala and a grandmother. And I speak Spanish because my grandmother came to help us, raise us. Mm-hmm. And she didn't speak any English. So she spoke to us in Spanish. We learned Spanish when we were little. Mm-hmm. And my mom worked full time in LA. And so basically I was just raised in this really nice area. And my mom was a single mom and she barely had enough money to make ends meet. She didn't have money for a nanny. So my grandmother came in and we were raised there, me and my two brothers.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah. Nice. So that's got to be, Southern California is one of my favorite places. My dad grew up in Anaheim, so I've got some connection with there as well.
Anaheim Hills is where I was raised. Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's one of the most amazing places. I've got some friends out there who live in the area now, and that's got to be. So as far as like growing up in the area, what was that like growing up in like the Southern California, especially in Anaheim and Orange County?
Oh gosh, it was so much fun. And I remember like, a lot of people around me had a lot of money, right? So they had moms and dads together and they were given all the things. And I was kind of like in the area, but my whole experience was completely different. Like I felt like I was with like the, poor Latina mother. And I say poor because she had a poor mentality. I don't have enough. Like you can only get one. You can't, if you want $5, you have to vacuum. I'm broke. I just remember hearing everything about how broke she was and how we can't afford and how we can't do. But I was around the people at my school and my groups of friends. They had parents who were entrepreneurs and they were all traveling the world and they were just living great life. So I loved growing up there because I feel like it forced me to level up because I was around certain types of people and I'm like, well, I can't be different. I got to level up.
Well, it goes back to you're the sum of the 5 people that are around you, right? And if you're living around people that are beyond where you're at, no judgment, just kind of they're a little bit farther, they're at the goal where you want, really kind of wears off on you. It really kind of rubs off on you, right?
Yep, 100%. And especially being a girl that loved fashion and wanted things and wanted to look cute. And your mom's like, I don't have money. I don't have money. I don't have money. It got really, I was just always that girl. Like, I'm going to one day get my own money. I'll buy whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
That feeling of like, I want this stuff so I can feel relevant. And I have this roadblock. People telling me no.
Yeah. Exactly. I think, and I think no is one of those fun things that drives entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah. No, it does.
Hearing no, and it's like I reject your reality and I substitute my own.
Yeah. Well, you meet people all the time and they have a lot more than you, and you're like, I don't get it. Like, how? How do they have the Ferrari and all the businesses, and they're not that much more, they're not more intelligent than me, they're not more charismatic than me, but you just have to have that. I don't know. I feel like some people either have that belief in their little gut, they have that little fire, or they don't. I really believe that, because there's people that are given lots of opportunity and they just don't have that fire to turn it into a flame, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's that spark, and it's that something that kind of drives us. And
Mhm.
we were talking earlier before we came on the podcast about the reason behind the name Hustle and Grind.
Yeah.
And it's not just grind, grind, grind. It's also there's something in us that is wired differently as entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
We get really obsessive about what we're doing because we're so passionate about it. And we're at, we will go night and day, 16-hour days, no worries, just go, 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 all gas, no brakes,
Yeah.
specifically to get to that point that we want to see, like what you saw when you were younger. You saw all of these people around you that were very successful, and you're like, I want to get
Yes.
there, and that passion really drives you to get to that
Mhm.
point, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So let's talk a little bit more now that let's talk a little bit more about what you do. Like, where are you right now? Let's go from that one.
Yeah.
Like, what
So
do you do?
basically, I early on, I got jobs in all kinds of industries, right? And my very
Ah,
first job was collection. I
okay.
collected money for Bally's Total Fitness in Huntington Beach, California. And I remember like sitting there going, they told me what to do, right? They're like, okay, all these people signed contracts and they owe us thousands of dollars. They came to work out and they didn't pay, right? And so that's all I knew at the time. But as I was talking to people, and I just basically got this job, and like as a person that likes to please, I'm like, what do I need to do?
Ah,
Call, dial as many people as possible and collect money. I'm like, okay. So I learned early on, everybody's yelling, everybody's mad, everybody's like, I don't know, the feel of the collection department was very like interesting, because there was bells ringing when you collected money, but on the
mhm.
phone calls they're like, you owe money, do you want your credit ruined? And they're like yelling at people. And I remember in that moment, I'm like, I'm going to do things different. I'm like, I'll bring that back to my company, out of the box consulting, but I just thought outside the box. I'm like, I think just by being nice, I feel like if I have empathy for their situation, because half of them were just working out. They didn't know they were signing a contract. So they got stuck in a contract, and now I just felt like it was wrong, but obviously I had to collect money to keep my job. So I just kept doing that. I kept talking to him. I had empathy. I'm like, I'm not so sorry that you were just working out there and then you signed it. But here's the deal. Like, they're gonna put this on your credit. Like, maybe if you could just do like 20 bucks or whatever. I started getting minimum payments by being kind and communicating with these people. All of a sudden, it's like this whole bell goes off, and I made like $10,000. And now, granted, I was 18, so I didn't really understand chunks of money or commission. I just knew, like, I'm gonna show up and they're gonna give me a paycheck, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I just got collector of the month, and everyone's telling me how great I did. And I just remember sitting there making a call after call. I didn't really do anything special, except for I tapped into how they might feel. And I just had telephone conversations. And I got my first taste of having a chunk of money, which
Ah,
is like more than just a salary. And the way that I felt, like everyone made me feel like I was like the best person ever. I'm like, there's something to this. Like, I love it. I love that I gave myself a raise
yeah.
by just doing what I was told to do. So
Yeah. It
that was
is
my very first job. So it's kind of like sales, but collection.
exactly. I think they're really similar. I think they
Yeah.
really are. And
Right.
that's one thing, like as entrepreneurs, that we have to figure out is just like cash flow and how to
Yeah.
manage that. It can be feast or famine, feast and famine, and that's a huge thing for all of us to know. So how did you deal with that? Like, how did you deal initially at 18 years old when you had this job with that sort of feast or famine thing that happens with, well, sales collections? How'd that work?
Well, at first, I just wanted to go on trips and get fashion. So to be honest, I was like, I'm gonna go get, but really, there's a reason for this, because if I get the trip and I get the fashion and I look the part, I mean, I got myself my BMW convertible. I always found a way to get the nice things at a discount, right? Because I'm like, well, I can't afford a new BMW, but I can go to this dealership, make friends with the owner, and then negotiate a price so that it fits in my price range. So I always had the nice things, but I got them on my budget. And so
Mhm.
what that did for me, though, is I was able to hang out in circles where they did have a lot of money, because they thought I had a lot of money, right?
Uh,
So I became very creative at, I mean, if I wanted something, I would go be a part of that world and go make friends with some of those people and just ask questions. And
hmm.
there's just so much knowledge out there. And I don't think we're really aware that we're one person away from like $1 million, literally, because they're going to know someone that's going to know someone. And by creating these relationships, you can really have and get whatever you want in life, you know? So I was always hustling and selling, and I didn't even know what it was called since I was
Uh-huh.
young. I'd take the money and I'd be like, I'm going to buy this car. I'm going to buy it under cost. I would do the Kelly Blue Book. I got a deal. I'm going to have it for a year. Then I get bored. And then I would make it look pretty. And then I would market it myself, resell it, make that chunk, get a better car. And I just kind of did that because I never had parents to help me. So I wanted the nice things. Nobody is helping me. And my mom's like, we don't have money to buy you clothes. I wanted the clothes. And so I figured it out. And I would ask questions like, beyond my hourly, is there a way for me to move up and make more money? I just,
Mhm.
at my interview, I was always wondering, what's the next step? Where am I going to make more? How am I going to find more? So
Mhm. Yeah.
that
Oh,
kind of
nice.
started, and I believe it's your personality, right? I don't believe like anyone taught me, because I don't remember sitting with anyone and having them say, hey, you should go into sales. You can make some money. You can be your own boss. Nobody really told me that. But
Mhm.
as I was hanging out with people, networking, picking their brain, and really just admiring them, wanting to go on vacations and hang out on their yachts,
Yeah.
I would find out that these people just thought that way. They just are like, oh, you just go after what you want. You
Mhm.
just go and do it, you know?
We're wired differently. I mean,
Yeah,
completely
we
differently.
really are.
Yeah. And
And
it's,
other
it's,
people are like safe at their job. They're like, I don't have enough. I have my $2,000. I paid rent and I'm broke. I can't
yeah.
go with you. You're like, no, we got to find a way to make more money so we can go. We want to go to Italy with everybody. Let's
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what specifically would you say to somebody that's in a 9 to 5 going, wait, something's wrong? Like one of those people that's programmed to be an entrepreneur, but is still stuck in that fear 9 to 5 thing going, hey, this is stable. This is safe. I have
Oh
my
boy.
401k.
Well, I would say there's something to that, but it's a mindset. It's the story that we were given, right? So all it is one little story.
Yeah.
It's like, you have benefits and you have this. Well, I'll tell you, I was selling for corporate America for lots of years. They made millions off me, and
Mhm.
I made a tiny bit off them. So it's the same exact thing that you'd be doing for yourself, but nobody really understands how to create it. And it's very simple. It's very simple. So if you're in an 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 right now, you literally start writing down what you're good at. If it's as simple as write down what you're better at than other people, that could be a business in the future. I mean, I have like 15 business ideas just sitting here all the time because I know that it's needed and I know I can execute it and I know what it would take to execute it. But I just don't have the time and I don't have the knowledge to do all the pieces, right? So then
Mhm.
I just go, well, that's a good idea, but for someone else. But to do your own, like as a consultant, all the things I'm good at and create a business out of it and go and charge someone and deliver,
Uh-huh.
anyone in a 9 to 5 can do that tomorrow and they can actually be successful at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And
But I don't think they see it that way.
no,
you
they
know?
don't. Yeah, because it's safe. I have my
Yeah.
9 to 5. I know I'm getting my paycheck. I know it comes every other
Mhm.
week. I know it's going to
Yep.
be X amount. I know that I have this. And it definitely, an entrepreneurship is not for the weak of heart.
No, not
It's
at
definitely
all.
the harder way. But it's, for me, it's a freedom factor that I have the
Absolutely.
freedom. I have an unlimited earning potential. Like, period. I
Yep.
don't have to worry about bosses. I don't have to worry about being fired because if my boss fires me from my job, I have bigger issues that I need to handle
Yeah.
because I'm self-employed. I'm a one person, one man.
Yeah.
I have some other issues I might want to deal with, but I think it's that that freedom and that ability to be creative in the amount in what we do. Like you said, 15 different ideas for a business is in the back of your head at any one point. I think that's something that's really important is being able to just constantly, if something doesn't work, we come up with something else,
But
right?
I will tell you, there's a point that you get brave enough to jump, right? Because if I didn't go, for a lot of people that would be listening to this, they're going to say, yeah, it's safety, it's all that, but it's also I go to an office, I'm around people, I have like someone else that's good at something else helping me with this and someone else helping me with that. When you jump ship, you're all alone and you feel all alone. And I remember being at my very first sales job, I joined BNI as a Business
Yeah.
Network International, like giving referrals. And
Yep.
it's like education for networking. I mean, everybody, if you're starting out, should go to one of these because I sat there and said, this is my office, right? I'm not scared anymore because I'm around other people who are exactly where I'm at.
Yeah.
And they're my people. Like I'm going to go there every single week and we're going to talk about what we do and they're going to help me and I'm going to help them. And I felt like it was like in lieu of my office. But I
Mhm.
remember jumping ship, feeling like I was at a company doing sales for them. when I went to do sales for myself in my own business, it's because I already felt that I was better than everybody else at it. And I got the validation from other entrepreneurs and by being in a networking space. So networking and masterminding and being around other people like us is
Mhm.
key to feeling supported when you're on your own, because we are wearing all the hats. As you know, it can get very lonely too.
Mhm.
Unlimited
Yes.
potential, but unlimited problems too at the same time. Like if you don't have people you can rely on to help with solutions. So
Yeah, and the downside that we run into is the people that we had as our support system are not the right people to support us in entrepreneurship. It's a completely different mindset. And that's something that I found where it's the people with the best of intentions, they're trying to help. They have absolutely no idea what I'm going through. And so they're trying from the outside to say, well, dude, you're insane. Why are
yeah,
you doing all this work? Why are you working at 8 o'clock at night? Why are you doing,
yeah.
they try to help, but I think it's that transition. Did you have that transition between kind of the old friends that had that old fear mentality and kind of the new friends that you made? And what was that gap like? Did you have that gap between like the old
Well,
folks, the old mindset and the people trying to help you? Usually it's family. They try to help you. And then the new people, they're like, hey, we actually know what it is. You're going to help you. We're going to build your new clan, a new tribe around you.
well, I was kind of like 100% lone wolf. It's really a sad story because I didn't really have anybody who built me up and gave me advice. Like my mom, I barely talked to my mom. My grandma didn't speak very much English.
Mm.
There wasn't anybody that in my family, because like a lot of our family members live in Guatemala, we were like kind of segregated in Orange County. So I really didn't have anybody, which is really important part of where I'm at today, because I would connect with souls, like people. And I would just, I almost like they were my extended family, you know?
Mhm.
Like I remember telling my mom, like, Mom, why don't we have family dinners? And then I wanted to date this guy because his family had family dinners. And then I was like, I loved being close to someone else's mom. And I kind of like had these like different people and families I went to, but I always felt, because my mom put in my head that I wish I had what they have, right? So I always felt like I wish I had a family. I wish I had, parents that cared. But when I went around entrepreneur mindsets and I went to my first seminar, that's a horrible way of thinking because our thoughts are literally creating exactly what we're doing right now.
Mm.
So if my mom didn't force me to go to that one seminar, my mom went to one thing and it was a pivotal point for where I'm at today.
Mm.
And I remember telling her, Mom, I'm not going to go to a thing about real estate with investors. I was young. And I was like, what am I going to do there? And she goes, I got you a ticket for your birthday. I flew to Salt Lake City to go to this seminar. And before that, I went to like a Zig Ziglar. But the way that I felt around people that thought different was this feeling I've never been able to explain because I was the positive thinker in my miserable little world. And I don't say miserable lightly. I just felt like, why don't I have any mentors? Why is my mom and dad not like this? Why don't I have an auntie and uncle that could like give me advice? I just basically felt like I was in the wrong life. And when I went to this seminar, this experience where these like people that thought outside the box and they just had so much like confidence and they were so positive. I was like, I'm home. This is like my people, right? I'm like,
Uh-huh.
these are, and I remember watching The Secret. I don't know if you've seen that
Yeah.
movie, but I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
going, the law of attraction. I've always had that because I'm like, yeah, I can't afford a BMW. I'm going to go make friends at that dealership and ask him how he afforded it and figure out if I can go online, find one, and then figure out if I can, I was a hustler. I was like, I'm going to go figure it out. You need 100 grand. How many get to 100 grand? Sales jobs make 100,000. They make 70 to 100,000. I'm like, sales jobs. I'm going to go see if I can get one. I just
Uh-huh.
kind of like each person would give me advice. I'd take 2 nuggets and go do the little thing. It wasn't like hard,
Yeah.
but it's like it was a part of my spirit animal to be around people that thought outside the box.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I
that's
think
kind of like how it was born, like my whole business.
And I think it's interesting how you said you were attracted to them, because I think that's something too, where I felt as well, where I always felt like I was in a situation where it was like sitting in the middle of an orchestra and they're all playing something different for me. And I'm like, what? This doesn't sound right.
Any of
Something's
this
wrong here.
music.
You
And
know?
you're like showing up like, this is okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
And then you
exactly.
go there,
Like the
you're like,
little dog sitting in the fire going, this is fine. I had no idea. And as soon as I started to get around entrepreneurs, like too, it was like, wow, this is my people. I finally
yes,
know what's going on. I finally know what's
yes.
going. Yeah,
My
yeah.
people, and they thought I was better than I was because I dressed the part. So they're just like, the guys that are running the seminar wanted to talk to me. And I just felt like, wow, like I have these super successful millionaires that think I'm cool. And it just gave you that confidence, right? And then that confidence is literally what transformed me into where I'm at today. Like even going through college, I didn't have money for college, so I got a full-time job. I worked at a private investigative firm because he had a limo and they went to Lakers games. And I was like, I want to go be a part of that company, right? So I just bounced around to the companies based on who I am. I wanted to go and be a part of the VIP situation, or I want to go be a part of these, like I thought investigative work, you get to find cheating wives and husbands, how cool. But really, when I worked at an office, I felt like I was in jail. So I went to college to do marriage and family therapy because I love helping people because I'm a huge empath. So I'm like, oh, what would I want to do? I'd want to help people with their problems all day, every day. And it wasn't until I went to my internship, I'm like, this is a little bit deep and heavy, sitting in a room with like these crazy like situations, but it didn't feel happy to me. So I'm like, how do I incorporate loving to help people? But then when I worked at offices, I'm like, get me out of this office. I want to go and like go to lunch. I want to go take clients flowers. Like I wanted to go and like be out there in the field. And then someone came up to me at my mom's church. It was Debbie Biscotti. She goes, Michelle, you need to go into outside sales. I'm like, outside sales? What the heck is that? She's like, you can have like a sales job where you work at a company and you make like 80 to 100,000 and you just get 15 deals a month or 5 deals a month, and they train you and they send you somewhere. And I was like, what? This is like awesome. And I like fixed up my resume and I didn't know how to do it. My mom didn't help me. And I, of course, was resourceful. And hey, how about I went to you help me fix up my resume, I'll do this. But basically, honestly, I took little nuggets from people better than me and I took action. That's really, it's as simple as that. Like anything you go to, write 2 or 3 things and take action on that. And if you don't know how, analyze it. Go, you know what? They told me to do this. I'm going to Google search that. I'm going to write down this. I'm going to missing piece for that. I'm going to do it by tomorrow. That's it. And you're going to get ahead everything. If you're 1% better, imagine at the end of your life where you're going to be. You just have to never give up wanting to be a little bit better. Always say yes. You get invited somewhere, do not watch your thoughts. Oh, I don't really want to go. I'm not going to learn anything. Go anyway. There's that person there you needed to meet. So I got the sales job and I just immediately was like, oh, I got to do 5 deals. So I did 7. Circle of Excellence was like the trip that everyone went on, right? Motivated by fun. I'm a blue personality. It's going to get you down to my personality sign. There's a birthday. Do you see that?
That was interesting.
I just have balloons.
That was interesting.
Birthday.
Exactly, right?
That was awesome. Thank you. Thank you, God.
I didn't know it would show up on, I didn't know it would show up on Zoom. Interesting.
That was awesome. Loved it. Okay. That was a sign, by the way. So anyway, so can you see me still?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting a call coming. So anyway, basically, I just did like I told you, I was a pleaser. So I'm not going to get 4 deals. If I wasn't getting 5 or I wasn't close, I would go sit and go in the field with people who are better than me. I'd be like, I'm going to go watch them because by watching, I'm a visual learner. I'm going to see what do they do that's so great to get like 20 deals. I don't even get it. And I go, can I do a ride along with you and just pick your brain? And I would just watch them. And then I'd be like, okay, that's a different personality. I wouldn't do that. But then I started realizing that I was very good at seeing what's needed in every situation. Like if it's a person that I'm riding along with and I could tell they didn't want me to ask a question, I could read the energy or vibration. I wouldn't ask that question. And so it really, that inner compass helped me get more yeses when I did do sales. So I would just talk to people and ask questions and stay quiet and try to figure out what's going to get them to be comfortable. And then I would just only speak when I knew who they were. And I remember thinking, what kind of personality do they have? Are they kind? Does the wife or husband? And I remember just doing that in my head. And I'd come back to the office. I got another deal. They're like, Michelle, you're on fire. You're brand new and you got this. And I'm sitting there going, they think I'm so great. I didn't really do anything. I was kind of lazy. I was almost late to the meeting. And after the meeting, I'd go to the beach because I'm like, I got to sell. They only said 1 a day. I already got my 1 at 10 a.m. I want to go to the beach, right? So I wasn't even a girl that worked. I know you said we put in all these hours, but I'm going to tell you a little secret about me. I was so good when I was on. There's the balloons again. I was so good that I basically just increased my approach. So that way I did less work, but I got more yeses. And so it's about the skill set, right? And I remembered I understood psychology and social behavior. So I basically used that without people knowing to connect with them, because I wanted to bring them to my networking circles, because I was a good networker if I did that. And if I hit my numbers, I was a good salesperson. So I just kind of like showed up and did that. But that's why I love sales so much, because to me it's super easy from day one. It wasn't hard for me at all. So when people are like, sales is hard, you gotta hustle and make calls till 6 p.m. And I remember thinking, brings back to starting my own business. Why do they think it's so hard? Why are they sitting there for 5 hours talking on the phone to people who don't want to talk to them? Like that's horrible. That sounds like miserable, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would go around the people that were going to say yes, or go around my networking circle and teach them how to find the people that would say yes, and they give me the name. And then I would give those people what they want, and then I'd get what I want. So giver's gain, give someone something. Every time you meet someone, give them something. What are you working on? Who can I connect you with? Connect them. And then you're going to get what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Life's a team sport. I mean,
Yeah.
really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's no I in team.
Absolutely. So now a little bit more, I want to hear a little bit more, because you're the sales diva, and you really are the sales diva. So how did sales diva come across? You really are. How did sales diva come apart? Like, where did that come in?
This is so interesting. So fast forward to the name of my business, right? So I'm like in sales at this point, 14 years. I'm in California. I moved to Utah, and I'm going to start a family, right? And I'm at the last sales job. I'm a director of business development. I created this position at a huge company called Paychex. It was a Fortune 500 company. I'm like, you know what you need? You need a business development director that goes into a town with the down sales force, and I'll do this. I literally wrote up my own business plan and sent it to New York, and they approved my position. Moved to Utah, moved here because the prices of the homes were less than California, because I wanted to get married, have kids. So my very last corporate job, I'm sitting there pregnant. I just gave birth to Aiden, my first baby, and I'm an empath, right? So I'm like, oh, I want to be home with my baby. I don't want to be at this meeting. So I wanted to go breastfeed and leave. And I'll never forget the boss, which I didn't really have a boss, but I had this boss, different boss, Utah boss versus California boss. But women here just didn't hustle like me. Without talking anything bad about Utah, all the women were home with the 5 babies. I was the networking business girl in sales, moving here for the first time, going to networking. And I remember the men couldn't go to lunch with me. They say, we have to bring our wives. It was a very different feel here. And I just was over someone telling me I had to be back in an office when I wanted to go breastfeed my child. And I remember sitting there at the BNI group, and I promise you this is literally how it happened. I'm sitting there listening to everybody go, and I started writing all the things I'm good at. I'm like, everybody hates sales. I'm awesome at sales. I'm going to write paragraph 1 of how to close deals when people in your dead lead pile, how to follow up better, how to telemarket better, how to knock on doors better, how to connect better with your networking partners to actually bring in revenue. And I just started on and on. Subconscious mind reprogramming, personality science. I'm like, when I go into a situation, I read the person, I read the gender, I read the energy of the room. So I just started writing. And that was one training, another training, another training, at the point where I had 12 things that I'm awesome at teaching people, like just naturally, because in BNI, I became a leader. I was a president. So I was always teaching. And at that point, I just go, that's 12 different things. That's 12 sessions. That's 3 months. That's a consulting program, out of the box consulting, because I've always thought outside the box. I do not ever do anything like they tell me. If they train me, I go, there's a better way. I'll do that, but not that. And then I'll hit the numbers quicker. I always did that at every job. So I just created a business on teaching people how to do that. And the biggest thing at those networking events and those mastermind groups and all those motivational seminars is what we learn, but we don't go home and do, because we don't know how. We're like, oh, I got to get 15 more deals. I got to call 5 more people. I got to do 6 more sales. And then you get back home, your subconscious mind, all of your limiting beliefs, you go to your desk and you're like, you probably are like this a little bit. And then you're like, I'm back to my same ways. So I thought, I'm so tired of everybody telling us things and we're writing what to do, but we're not executing. So my out of the box consulting idea was to not only teach everyone what I'm good at to make sales more fun and easy for each person, but do it based on their personality, on their terms, and the hours they want to give by using just the idea of teaching them who they are and why they've come across that way. And then when they can, the part that they can't figure out, I'm going to get on the phones and do it with them. So I'm not going to leave them to chance by teaching them and leaving. I'm going to teach them, go in the field with them, stay with them, do the sales with them until they actually learn. Because you can go to Tony Robbins all you want. And when you get back, you don't know how that's going to transcribe into like you getting in the car and going out in the field and trying to hit your numbers. Are you even doing the right daily activity? How does that look? No one's ever watched over. Wouldn't you love to have them? I would love to have a me like, Michelle, if you did it this way, I'd be like, oh, wow, I never thought of that. Yeah. So you need those checks and balances, but nobody really thought of that at the time to create a business model around something like this. So I did. Yeah. And so it's just basically things I'm confident talking about. Yeah.
So it's not just people, it's not just telling somebody what, again, not telling what to do, it's actually doing the coaching. So instead of just kind of talking at somebody for a while, it's now we're going to actually coach you through it. Because I mean, knowledge without application is useless. So yeah.
Well, it's like figuring out their brain and teaching them, like, do you know that this is the way you are? And this is why you're scared to pick up the phone? No. Did you know that based on your personality, we're going to do things this way and it'll be easier for you? No, watch. And then we do it and we test it and we do role plays. I don't even leave their side until they're successful. So we back in their goals and then I hold their hand and get them there. So I've loved what I did, but like back to your question about the Diva, I also created a business called Designer Diva, right? Because I told you, when I wanted a chunk of money, what did I go do? You're like, did you save? Were you stressed? No, I went and bought fashion. I wanted to travel. Yeah. because I'm a blue personality. I'm like, I just want to have fun. I'm like, I don't care if I spend all of it because I'll go make another chunk. That's how I thought. I didn't think like, oh, I'm scared for a rainy day. I'm not that person, right? But that was my fire. I want to dress like that. I want to be around those people. They're not going to pay attention to me if I'm dressed like a hobo. So I created a business when I got to Utah called Designer Diva because I was always a little diva. I just showed up. I always like dressed nice. Everyone since I was younger, if I showed up somewhere, can I get that shirt? Can I get that necklace? How did you get that? Like I was just kind of like, I had my own sense of style. I created little businesses around all my passions. So Designer Diva was getting all of these designer brands to Utah. You come down to my store. I have a store downstairs in my basement and you get to try on things and look in a lookbook, and after you look in the lookbook and you're like, I would love to wear that, but I don't have the money. Like Taylor Swift is in that beautiful outfit. I'm like, come into my store. I think if we do this and this and this, and it's only $62. What? Are you kidding? It was all brand names and everything was like $10 to $15 because that was what I was passionate about. I want the BMW, but I want it at 12,000 out the door, not 80,000 out the door. So then I'd get the year, make, model, figure it out. I did that with clothing. You want the beautiful brands? I'll find the beautiful brands, bring them one spot. You're going to show me what you're confident wearing. We're going to make you look good, right? So I did these businesses with the Diva name. And then I ended up on the Destination Diva show. I was investing Diva for a while because I was a high ticket closer for investing cash home investors. So they all called me, oh, it's the Investing Diva, and then it was like this and that, but it was all sales, right? So then why not call myself the Sales Diva? I have a series called the Hitch Diva. I'm doing relationship coaching and mentoring, and we're going to do a matchmaking program. But it's like Hitch Diva, and this whole Diva thing just took off. So I don't know why I'm called that.
It's interesting.
Really
I never heard that story, so that's really awesome.
Yeah.
I never heard that story behind what that was, and I didn't know about the Hitch Diva, and that's a new one, isn't it? That's
there's relationships, fashion, travel. I had a whole business in travel. That's a whole nother story. 14 years, I was doing dream trips, helping people take vacations at cost. And the vacations were you land to and from the airport, excursions, everything for $400. So to me, that's, if you look at all my Instagram history, all the traveling I went on, it's because I went at cost. And if I referred people to get these vacation packages, I went for free. So I would travel for free. I'd get clothes for free, and it's all because I'm good at sales. And I have a network of people that if I didn't have a connection into that world, I could ask someone and they'd help me because I help them. So I really feel like the most blessed individual to not only be doing everything with my own skill set, but now I'm a part of these brands, like this is the only lip plumper that's a lip plumping oil. We're getting this into all the stores, as you know, Natty Addy, the only all natural Adderall. I've just been a part of like so many interesting companies, and I get profit share off all of them for the rest of my life because I created and carved out that piece of the sales program for them. So
love it.
it's great,
I love it. I absolutely love it. Absolutely
Yeah.
love it. And so I want to thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story with me today. It was really wonderful to hear this and just really fun to have a chat. And I do have one final question
Yeah.
that I have, and that is there a book or podcast or person that has had the biggest impact on your life?
Oh, absolutely. Hands down, Mark Aceta. Mark Aceta did all of our trainings with the travel business.
Okay.
And it was a network marketing company for travel. And my higher ups, Carrie and Leisha Schneider, the only $1 million income earners, were my best girlfriends. They said, never miss a training. And so I never missed a training. There was 4 a year. I went every single year, 4 different trainings. And I've learned so much. He used to do characters with different personalities. He used to do, personality science type things. Now I'm the biggest personality science trainer here in Salt Lake City, Utah, because of those teachings. But it was because I showed up to him. I never went to a Tony Robbins because I felt like this particular trainer covered every single thing that we're getting at the other trainings in one of his trainings every quarter. So imagine lots of years of that.
Yeah.
So he's been a big influence. But I also, nowadays, it's all of you, right? It's like I can watch you, I can watch Rhonda's podcast. Like all of you guys are bringing so much knowledge to the table. I can just literally can say show me some podcasts on this and you'll have 15 options. We don't even need a degree anymore. We just get a plethora of knowledge from everybody else. So
And applicable knowledge. I guess that's the other thing too, is these people who have done it. I have a mentor that says there's a difference between counsel and opinion. Opinion is I kind of, I've seen this done on TV once and I think I know what I'm doing. Counsel is I've been there and I'm going to show you what I did. And I think that's what we get by podcasts is that sort of, that's why I always ask this question is there's so much information out there and it's really freely available. College isn't always an option. I mean, it's not always, and so being able to give these recommendations from folks going, hey, go check this person out. They really helped. Always a good, always a good
yeah,
thing
it's
to
like a
get information
business
from.
is an
Yeah,
idea, right? A business
yeah,
is an idea, and then you just execute. I told you, a BNI group, I executed a whole business that I've been doing for 14 years.
yeah,
I mean, it was
absolutely.
while people were talking, because it's a part of us. That's what I want to tell you. Anybody out there who's worried and says, how could I start my own business? How could I do it? How do I have the strength? Start by mind dumping what you're naturally good at. Go back to your beginning story. What did everybody say about you? Oh, Michelle's the one that can get the good deal. Create a business around getting people good deals. If you're the fashion girl, you can be a shopper for the stars. You can say, I know you don't have time. Let me get your beautiful outfits. You can create businesses out of everything and you can make money with a better plan. So never say no to mentors. Always go around mentors, networking partners, people better than you, people that have done it. Ask the question and do the same thing they did, but for yourself. And then literally keep being around the campfire of great people like Andrew and all the different people
Thank you.
that we continue to gravitate towards, and stay around the campfire and ask the questions, and you'll be surprised. So many of us want to help people like you. I have a whole program for new people that have an idea to market. I have a whole program. That's what I'm doing for Natty Addy. It was an idea. I got this into the different stores already. It's into 2 health food stores, Harmon's. I have it through a distro center that's going to get it to 200 more stores, but that's in 3 months. So that's the Sales Diva can do that. You guys can do what you're good at, right? It's
Absolutely.
where there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I really appreciate it. You've brought some absolutely wonderful wisdom, and I really appreciate you and your
Yeah,
energy and
thank
just who
you,
you are as a
Andrew.
person. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Namaste. Thank you so much. Sales Diva Michelle. Follow me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks again for joining us on the Hustle and Grind podcast. If you would like to learn more about Michelle, check out the link in the description.